Good evening. Let's get it. Video demo, long waited. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so new project. We already know how to do this. Go ahead and title it your project name. I am just going to do demo SP24, and you guys' class is D4D. So that will be that. Now, make sure that all of your assets are together before you actually start editing anything. You'll just make it so much easier on yourself if you're not, bouncing back and forth between things. A little reminder, so if you hit create new sequence, it's going to dump all of your assets onto the sequence for you, which you might not want to do, especially if you're trying to piece things together. So I would not do that. However, you could put them in a bin. However, that is going to put everything into one bin. So you may or may not want to do that depending upon how many different assets you're bringing into this. You might want to just customize it a little bit. So we'll just uncheck all those boxes and hit create. So I've got my sound and I've got my video clip. I'm going to go ahead and retitle these just so that we know exactly what we're dealing with. So we're going to call this video montage. By the way, you all were not to make any types of montages. I am doing this just for my demo. I didn't need that panel, so I got rid of it. Reminder, anytime you don't need something, you can just close that panel up by clicking these three bars on top of each other. Now, let's get started. I showed this video at the beginning of the semester. This is just like a little montage of my summer that I had a while ago. Recall that to move this blue bar around means that you are scrubbing through your audio. Likewise, whatever I click here, oops, let me drag this out a little bit. You gotta be particular as to where you're clicking on these things. If I click here, it's gonna pop up in my source panel, which allows me to do that same scrubbing action while maintaining my program preview over here. I can control the size of my preview if I want to zoom in a little bit, zoom out, depends on what you want. This is recorded on an iPhone, so it's going to have those bars. If I don't want those, I can also crop that later if I wanted to. But we're just going to keep this steady for now. That's fine. Let's go ahead and get organized in our bins and our folders. So I'll have one for my sequence. I'll have another one for my audio. And I'll have another one, oops, not within. I'm actually going to delete that and start over. Here we go. And this one is for the video. Sequence, audio, video. Now let's keep everything nice and organized. That's how we like things, right? So that color, oh, I don't know, I think that's forest. Close enough. Video, we can keep orange. That's fine. Come over here and I'm right clicking on top of it. And I go down to label, and we'll make that orange, which I think is mango. Yes. And then my sequence, we'll make that an original color. I'll turn it magenta. So first decide what you want to do. This is when you would want to look back maybe at your storyboards, even if you want to get a feel for how the flow is supposed to go. It would be also great when you are when you are assembling your assets to title your scenes in order so that you know exactly what you want to do. This is pretty simple for me. I've got like one video that was already pieced together. So we're gonna kind of like re-edit this video. I actually edited this video in Premiere, but we're going to re-examine it. So first and foremost, what I want to do is I want to replace this audio that's already attached to it. And to do that, I'm going to right click and I am going to separate the audio, and it is escaping me at the moment. How did I do that? There is a button to unlink the audio. Is that what I'm looking for? Duh. It's in my face the entire time, you guys. Maybe I'm just sleepy. Right there, right click, unlink. So sorry. Slow moment. Okay, so that allows me to separate these two. So if I don't want them connected, that's perfect. I'm actually going to get rid of it. And I've got a lovely little song here that I'm going to go ahead and drag over. Now here's the thing, the song is much longer. So if I wanted to do some type of special editing or my fade in, remember to recall how to do that. When you have your bar or your track extended, you can use your pen tool and fade in. Or you might not want to do it at the beginning. You might want to do it at the end. So, just to go over some of these tools. Razor tool. It's going to line up right there, and I know that's where the song's going to end out. Shortcut. C. I can hit V, go back to my mouse, delete that, hit P, get my pen tool. And that's where I can have it fade out in the end. And I'll have it fade closer to the end here. I don't want to raise it. Remember, this is your decibels bar, so if I raise it up higher, it's going to go up in volume, and we don't want that. Command Z to undo. So that should be fine. Recall that the steeper your slope, the faster that fade out is going to be. Be mindful that if you're zoomed in, so this is actually a pretty fast fade out. I'm going to do it a little bit more gradually. This should be fine. Okay, so let's go over some of these tools. Some of them you will remember from last time. However, some of them are new. So track select forward. This is like, let's say I have a whole series of tracks, and I'm actually, just for demonstration purposes, going to show you exactly what that will look like. So if I'm going to copy, I can just paste some more tracks here. Alright, so if I have my track select forward, I can come over to where I want them to start selecting, and everything to the right of it will be selected like so. So if I want to get rid of them immediately, that's one way to do that. My ripple edit tool can shorten clips and prevent unwanted cutoffs, and it also moves your timeline. So let's see, come back to the beginning. I've like adjusted it by doing that, and I don't necessarily need to do that, so I'm gonna hit Command Z to get rid of it. Razor tool is the Command C like we just went over. Slip tool, don't worry about the slip tool. You won't end up using it. Rectangle tool. So if you actually wanted to draw shapes over your frame, if you wanted to draw shapes, you could do that. I don't see why you would at this point, but you very well could do that. We're gonna get rid of it by hitting Command Z. So that just goes over the basic tools. Okay, now, snapping. So if I want to snap to my timeline, see how it literally snaps to the end there? That's because my magnet is highlighted. If I wanted to move this and, you know, be able to control exactly how close it was to a certain edge, I would just turn that off. Another thing, if you click your wrench there, you want to be able to show your audio keyframes and also show your video keyframes, because just like we controlled the decibels levels for our video, we could do the same thing if we wanted to fade out our video at the end as well. So let me go ahead and grab my track, select forward, and get rid of those because I don't need them. But I can do the same exact thing with my video. So we'll have it fade at the same time, actually. Just to give you a little preview of what that looks like. I'm gonna turn this volume down just a smidgen. Okay, so that faded nicely. I'm not sure if you guys can actually hear the audio. I hope you can. But you might not be able to hear what's actually being played there. But I do have this song, which is quite lovely. It is an Italian song, which I think I would choose as the soundtrack of my life. Okay, so let's go over some other things. So what I just pressed to go backward in time like that was J. J is going to play the track backwards. If I hit it more than once, it's going to speed up every time I hit it. Likewise, I can hold it down and go backwards. If I hit the space bar, it's going to play. K pauses, so space bar pauses and plays. K just pauses. L is gonna speed through my track. Now, something to note, literally, if you want to make a note. So let's say I want to make a little note for my next person to edit, because everyone's supposed to be editing these. I can hit M, and that puts a little marker right there. And within that marker, I can add notes. If I click that marker, I can add a comment. And I can say, clean up music sync. You can change it to whatever color you wanted. And I can say, the audio needs to be tightened up to the shift in scene. All right. So if I wanted to do that there, I can leave that, and the next person could go ahead and look at it and continue editing from there. Don't forget that if you wanted to skim your audio, let's say I wanted to choose some parts, I can go ahead and make my I for in and O for out, and then grab that scene, and there it is. So there's that. Let's see. So it's pretty simple, guys. It depends on what you're trying to do. Now, what I also could do is, let's say I want to change the entire color scheme of this video. Let's say I wanted to make it a little, let's see what the words. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna come over to my, oh, not that. All right, I'm gonna find my my effects controls. I went up to Window, Effects, and let's do some video effects. I can do color correction. There's a video on keying. I could add some noise and grain. I could stylize it. There's a lot of things I can do. I could do some type of transformation. I encourage you to just kind of play around and see what's possible. For now, we're just gonna stick with color correction. Now, if I wanted to do like a really like nice custom like color, I could go to Lumetri color, and then when I come over to this, let me also get my I didn't see it, so you can actually find that same tab underneath the windows for Lumetri color. So this is kind of like the same things that we've used in Photoshop in the past. I can adjust my saturation, try to find a different scene. So everything is much warmer now, you see that? Make it more red, have it a little more blue tint, and I'll just play it. I can also use my sliders. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what's going on. Bring this down so we can see what's happening. Honestly, I really wish you could hear this song because I think this song is actually kind of perfect. But yes, if you wanted to get into some really nice stylized color corrective looks, you are more than able to do that over here. Vignetting is like if you wanted to be more dramatized. Oh, let's see, I don't think you can, oh, there it is. That nice subtle framing around the edges. It just depends on the style. It depends on the look that you're trying to go for. So those are there and available to you. And I actually don't want to keep any of these. So let's see. if you don't see the effects controls, that's also here. So don't forget that your timeline or your whole panel is completely editable. So likewise, I've got the effects controls for this specific effect, and then I've also kind of got those same things over here. So right now it's showing me that on top of my video montage layer, I've got the Lumetri color effect on here twice, so I can actually get rid of it. Now, another thing I could do, like if I wanted to control a certain area, you know, with those effects, I could also do that by creating this little shape. Just something to, you know, keep note of. You can make a mask inside of Premiere as well. Some of the same tools carry over from different programs. So it just depends on what you and your group are trying to accomplish. Now, I will say that this is a pretty like general overview. If there's something more specific that you are looking for, then by all means, please let me know and I will like happily point you in that direction. I just right clicked and cleared it because I did not want it. Let's see. You could also color balance. Remember, if you want an effect, you just drag it, drop it on top, and it pops up here. So if I wanted to play with some of those midtones, shadows, and highlights, I could also animate any action that I perform. So any effect that I make, I could then put a stopwatch timer on it, just like we did in After Effects, and turn it into an animated effect using my keyframes. So just to give an example, like let's say right here, I start my keyframe, I move forward, and then I move it back to 0. Just to show you. So it is red, and then it goes back. Hold on, it's very subtle. See that? Very subtle, but you'll notice the difference between this frame, way more red, versus this frame, way less red. So you can animate anything that you want to do using your keyframes. So just remember that there is a lot of overlap between Adobe softwares. There's overlap with keyframes that we're seeing in After Effects. There's overlap with mapping, being able to be really specific about the placement of your effects and your controls. The possibilities are literally endless. Again, if there's something more specific that you're thinking about, feel free to email me. But this is just a general overview of what to expect and how to get started with things. Now, one thing that you will note is that there is a red bar above my video. That means all of the effects that I have not, that I've added have not been fully rendered. So to do that, I'm going to go to my sequence and then render effects in to out. So essentially that just kind of like solidifies the effects that I've made onto my video. they're kind of just hanging in the balance. They haven't been officially applied until I render them. So that sometimes that takes a little bit longer. This looks like it's going to be okay. So we'll let that play out a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Feel free to fast forward. Okay, so you'll know that everything is fully rendered out. I just want to re-clarify something. So with like the ripple edit tool, so a ripple edit tool means like moving an edit point and causing the rest of the timeline to move to the same amount to compensate. So it's kind of like if I wanted to shift one clip, it's also going to do this, you know, with the rest of them so that I don't have to like move each one individually. That may not be applicable to you, this tool right here, but it may. Depends on what's going on. Okay, let us see if there's anything else. Ah, yes. Transitions. So, let's see. I'm going to actually clip my video, and this is the last thing. And let's say I just want to put a little transition in there. I'm going to click it, right click, and then I'm going to go, let's see, where are you? I'm going to add a little, what's called a, cross dissolve, which is like the default transition. If I can find it. Oh, hold on. Oh, that's annoying. Well, I used to be able to find it right there. No worries. Give me 2 seconds, folks. I'm gonna just type it out. There it is. So it used to be you could just like right click, but totally fine. I can always just drag it, drop it, and apply it. There, you'll notice it. So let's see how that fades in or fades out. Oh, now, good point. So do you see how it's red right here? It's not rendered, so it didn't play when I went to play it back. That means I need to come back to my N. So my N is I on my keyboard. O. And then I'm going to go sequence render effects into out. This should take all of 2 seconds. And, oh, okay. That's interesting. It did not show up that well. Let's look at what's going on. I'm gonna reapply that transition. there it is. Okay. So, let's move this back over. Okay, so you saw that quick little fade. That was the fade out. Sorry, that was a little wonky. Thank you for being so patient. This video has now reached 30 minutes, so we're going to cap it. Again, if there's anything that you need, you can go ahead and contact me. Let's go ahead and export. So, file name, very important. Location where you're saving it. I'm going to put it in the folder that I got it from. We're going to save it as an MP4. That's totally fine. H.264 is what we want. Source, we'll do the entire source. Now, actually, we're not going to do that because some of you guys don't know how to clip at the end. So it might just be best for you to come to the end of your video and hit O. That way, when you come to your export, you can just hit source in to out, and that way it's completely over. It is over when the video is over, and there's no extra bits at the back. So the rest of this should be fine. Don't worry about it. And we will just, let's see, you might be able to export it from here depending on how big it is. Otherwise, you might need to send it to Media Encoder. But this is the remaining time. This video will be uploaded tonight. Have a good one. If you need something, let me know. See ya.